Welcome everyone to this information webinar for our EU Space for Ukraine Hackathon. We are very happy to have you with us, and we are going to walk you through different information so you are fully ready and aware of what's going on. So our agenda for today is going to be first a general presentation of the challenges at hand with Stefan Schneider. Then we will dive more into the satellite data and technology aspect of our hackathon with Dr. Jan Muserl and Aapo Latvala. And then we will get into the second main aspect of our hackathon, which is humanitarian aid, working with refugees, etc. We will have with us Razi Latif, Dr. Mariana Salgado, and Iris Lawson-Hellu. And then finally, we have more partners. Some of them could be with us, some of them could not. So we will have, I will shortly introduce most of our other partners, and we will also have a bit of a presentation from Markus Rani. And to close off our webinar, more practical information about the timeline, how to register the team, other event specificities, next steps for you as potential participants, and then finally we have a little Q&A time if there's any questions still up in the air. For the time of the presentations of our partners and of the practicalities, meaning up until Q&A time, I will ask that you keep your microphones muted for the comfort of everyone. And once we reach Q&A, feel free to open your microphone and ask the questions away in a natural form. But without further ado, let's jump into the content with our first speaker, Stefan Schneider, about the challenges.
Yes, thank you very much, Anne, and hello and welcome everybody. I'm very happy to speak today on behalf of USPA. For the ones who don't know what or who is USPA, USPA is the European Union Agency for the Space Program. We are based in Prague, and we are part of the European Commission, and we are actually responsible for Galileo. Galileo is the European satellite navigation system, and we are also responsible for Copernicus. Copernicus is the European Earth observation program. And as you were as well, we were very shocked by the by the war which started in Ukraine, and we were thinking here in USPA what could we do, and therefore we had the idea to create this hackathon, and we are very happy that we found a very competent partner with UltraHack, who is supporting us here. And the basic idea of this hackathon is we would like to mobilize the EU space community in this hackathon, and we would like to motivate people, NGOs, investors, SMEs, space companies to provide solutions to enhance humanitarian support to those fleeing the war. And therefore, we are very excited to have a lot of NGOs on board. And even if you know someone who is not maybe taking part today, you are always free to inform them about our hackathon taking place later in the middle of this year. And we are really counting on this EU space innovation community, which could provide solutions for this very difficult situation for a lot of people who have to flee the war now in Ukraine. So if we are talking about challenges and if we are talking about solutions, what we were thinking about, and this is just a general description of what could be a solution, and we will talk about possibilities also later on, but just to give you an idea, what could be a solution? A solution could be, for example, if you use, for example, satellite navigation or our Earth observation to create a platform connecting public entities, NGOs, national, supranational helpers, and private people moving to Ukraine for rescuing people, or to provide a roadmap for supplying medicines or doctors, food, water, or if we talk about solutions for drone support for supplying medicine and necessities. We can also talk about provision of medical psychological support for people at the border, and to provide central or coordinated contact directory for different supporters or help providers, where helpers and other NGOs can coordinate with themselves. And a lot of things more we can also talk about here, about identifying the level of destruction in specific areas, etc., etc. So the solutions and the challenges are very wide, but also the solutions can be very wide and broad. And I think we are here in USPA, we can provide the necessary technical data and technical solutions, but of course without the helpers on the ground and the NGOs there in Ukraine or in other countries where those Ukrainians have fled to, we are very willing to help them. And then, of course, what can we offer from USPA, as this is in a humanitarian hackathon? We have some prizes in mind where we think, okay, this could be a nice incentive for an NGO or for a team which is active in this field. We would like to invite the winner to the European Space Week in Prague in this October. The European Space Week brings together the entire European Union space community. You would meet a lot of policymakers, industry, startups, public authorities, investors, and also other NGOs. And it's about space, but in this regard, of course, it's also about help and humanitarian support. We would also like to offer you a promo package by USPA, where we give you high visibility on all USPA communication channels, with the idea and for the team which have won the Ukrainian hackathon. And we would also grant you access to the Space Academy. The Space Academy is like a vocational tool we have here at USPA, where we train young teams on topics like social media, newsletters, launch pack, brand identity, website, etc. And then, of course, what we also can offer here at USPA is a very broad network of other NGOs, investors, SMEs, space companies all over Europe, where we would like to connect the winner with those other parties to have an impact on this very difficult situation at the moment. And therefore we are looking forward very much to have this hackathon, and that we also attract a lot of NGOs and teams from all over Europe who would like to make a difference with the EU space technology that we have here in Europe. And of course we are aware that a lot of NGOs or people who are helping at the moment have never been in contact with space technology at all, but this is not a problem, because we are having experts here at USPA, but we also have experts from outside USPA who are very willing to help you to develop ideas, to develop solutions to the challenges that I've already mentioned. So don't be afraid about this. We will be mentoring you if you have an idea to a challenge that is at the moment very crucial for those people affected by the war. We are at your side, and we will guide you through the whole process, because of course the goal of the whole hackathon is to ease the situation and facilitate the situation as well for those people. So to wrap it up, I'm very happy to be here to have this hackathon on EU space for Ukraine. It's the first humanitarian hackathon we ever had here at the agency, so this is also something totally new for us. But I'm very sure that with our very, very good partners we have found at the moment, this is going to be a success, and I'm looking forward to work with all you together. And thank you again to UltraHack for helping us organizing this hackathon.
Well, thank you, Stefan. So here you have it, a bit of an overview of what the challenges are, the areas you could develop projects on, and you already heard a lot about the prices and the support you will be able to get. Let's move on to the nitty-gritty information related to the famous satellite data. Our first speaker on the matter will be Dr. Jan, usual, and I'm gonna give the floor to him.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Hello, everyone. We are also really grateful to USPA that we can participate in this great event. I am representing the Cloudflare company, which runs the CreoDias platform. For those who may not know what CreoDias is the cloud computing platform with our large servers that you can see in the background, connected to the large EO data repository, so Earth observation data, and in this respect, satellite data. And at the company, we have also our initiative to support Ukraine, and where we provide data and computing power, and that's why we think that we are a perfect match for the EU Space for Ukraine hackathon. So as I mentioned, we provide large EO data repository and EO data processing, so virtual machines that you can acquire from us. And we run several platforms. The first and the most well-known is CreoDias, which was sponsored by the European Space Agency and European Commission. But we have also been involved in the Wikio, EO Cloud, Climate Data Store, and CodeDE platforms. And what will be provided to you during the hackathon? You will be granted an access to the cloud computing, and this is the OpenStack. So here you can see the link where you can register and look at how it works. We have also a direct connection to our computing and EO data repository through the Jupyter notebook. And within the Jupyter notebook, you have Python, R, and Julia programming languages. So you can choose what is the best for you. We have also for data discovery, CreoDias Finder. And so this is a tool that enables you to look for the Copernicus satellite data and other auxiliary data. And you have also CreoDias browser, when you can display those satellite images in different color combinations, for example. So, as I mentioned, we have also initiated the EO4UA initiative that it's a perfect match for EU Space for Ukraine, because we provide data and also some expert knowledge. So we have research, and we have Kiev Polytechnic Institute, we have University of Warsaw Institute of Geodesy, Cartography and Forest Research Institute. We have companies, Cloudflare, Airbus, SatAgro, and Vista. And we have also data platforms, so CreoDias, CodeDE, Sentinel Hub, and Food Security tab run by the Vista company for ESA. And if you would like to learn more, you can go to our webpage. So our mission is to provide, we are a bottom-up initiative to provide Ukrainians with the computing capabilities, so the cloud and data that they may lost during the war. So in order to let them follow their research work, and we also would like to provide some information to Ukrainian and international authorities about the assessing of environmental losses based on the Earth observation data. And we have our data sets. So these are the higher level Copernicus data sets. So we have Sentinel-1 backscatter coherence. We have Sentinel-2 reflectances. We have some in situ data from the Kiev Polytechnic Institute. And we have some data about forest fires, forest cover, and you can also access to all Copernicus products through our CreoDias Finder and CreoDias browser. So talking about challenges, we thought about the following example that might be useful for you. So first of all, the crop monitoring. As you know, Ukraine is very important producer of cereals and sunflower oil and corn. So that's why the war now is endangering not only Ukraine, but also some countries in Africa, which are the main importers of the cereals from Ukraine. So that's why you can use the Copernicus data to monitor the development of the crops. And here you can see development through the vegetation season between different years. And we can see that this year is up to April looks similar to year 2021, for example. You can also, using the satellite data, track the agriculture activities in Ukraine. And in this respect, you can use the coherence data. And this is the work done by the Joint Research Center. And here you can see the different colors on the fields. And those different colors implies that at some point there was some loss of coherence. So then it implies that some agriculture activity was going on. And also using the meteo data within the Copernicus and satellite data, you can do the yield forecasting. And here you can see the work of food security tab and Vista, where using the Epsilon model, Vista was forecasting the yields of maize, wheat, rapeseed, and barley in the last years. So this could be another challenge. And here we see the fire detection, which are enormous during the military actions. Here we can see the forest fires near the city of Izum. And this is work done by the Institute of Geodesy and Cartography and Professor Agata Kościło. So here you can see how much damage was done. And then using the satellite data, you can also map the forest fires extent. So the burnt areas, and here you can see them in brown, how much the very, very large forest fires that occurred close to Żytomierz city. And another challenge could be related to hydrological challenges. So here we can see the Oskol River, and basically here there was a large lake, with a dam at the end, but during the war, dam was destroyed. That's why you can see now the lake is totally empty and the river flows again within the within the lake. So it's also related to the flood monitoring. And next type of challenge could be related to infrastructural damages. And here you can see the Mariupol and the damage that was done during the last military activities. So to wrap up, I can give you a hint how to prepare for the EU Space for Ukraine hackathon if you would like to use the CrowDias and the satellite data that we provide. You can create a free account with 100 euro credits on the CrowDias. Then you can go to YouTube. Then there are many tutorials on CrowDias, how to use it, and just start to play with it. You can use the CrowDias browser and CrowDias Finder to see what Earth observation data and Copernicus data we have. And then you can create a virtual machine. This is something that you will probably work with during the hackathon. And you can try to connect to it using the X2Go client. And in case you have any problem, you can contact our support by creating a ticket. And basically that's all. I wish you all good luck. And in case of any question, just type them into the chat because I have to be going in 15 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jan. Well, if you have to go that early, then I say we take some of the questions already that were rather technical that I know I will never be able to answer. And we use some of the 5 more minutes we had assigned to you to answer these questions. Let's change a bit our timeline. So Hiroshi had some questions in the chat. The first one was, does CrowDias provide GPU as well?
Yes, we have a GPU-enabled machine, so yes.
Great. And then the other questions was, how does labeling work? For example, fire detection, because since it's a context of war, it might be very hard to do the correct labeling. So do you have any tips or answers to that?
Basically, this is a big challenge now during the wartime that we cannot put people to go to field and to check what's there. So basically, usually we do the manual labeling or we use the transfer learning from the data that we had that we have collected during the last years to try to apply them for the 2022. But it's also not that easy because there is, for example, phenological differences and so related to different phases in plant, let's say, activities or development. I would suggest to do it manually. We have just based on in situ, we have just data from Kiev Institute, Polytechnical Institute, and these are the crop labels from the last 4 years around Kiev. So this is what we have from in situ for main labeling.
Okay, great. Thank you for the answers. And just to mention here, it's going to be probably a lot of manual work to compare from year to year to do your labeling. So during the hackathon, we asked for a proof of concept. So you don't have to do it for the whole areas. You can focus just on one, do all your manual labeling for that area and work your solution on a small scale. Because once we know you figured out for a small scale, you would be able to do it on a larger scale if you had the time to get into the labeling. Just for the people that are concern for that topic. Thanks again, Jan, for the presentation on the data. And we are going to move on to the presentation of our next partner from Microsoft's Apple. Apple was not able to come here today, so he has recorded us a little message.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Hackathon. My name is Aapo, and I'm a customer engineer here at Microsoft. I'm here today presenting how Microsoft technology can help you reach your goals during this hackathon. One of Microsoft's main technologies today is Microsoft Azure. Azure has a global reach of over 140 countries, and with over 280,000 kilometers of fiber lines across each of them and more regions than any other cloud provider, Microsoft Azure helps you invent with purpose. When your workloads run on Azure, data may travel near or far as space. That journey always starts in an Azure geography and hits some common points along the way. Along the fiber lines, Microsoft Azure has hundreds of data centers spread across the planet in areas we call regions. With more global regions than any other cloud provider, Azure provides you with the flexibility to deploy applications wherever your audience might be. So today, I want to walk you through some of the Azure technologies that can help you in this hackathon finding a solution for Ukrainian people. Azure Data Factory is a fully managed serverless data integration service. With it, you can visually integrate data sources with more than 90 built-in maintenance-free connectors at no added cost. The integrated data can then be delivered to Azure Synapse Analytics to unlock insights and knowledge from the provided dataset. These insights can be shared with the whole world with many different services in Azure. Few of them are Azure Static Web Apps, which is a modern web app service that offers streamlined full-stack development for source code. Azure Container Apps is a fully managed serverless container service for building and deploying modern apps at scale. With it, you can deploy containerized apps without managing complex infrastructure. I hope these tools will help you in your attempts to help Ukrainian people. Thank you for listening to me today, and have a wonderful hackathon, and see you around in the playing field.
There we go. And this concludes our first section related to the technical resources and support that you will be provided with. And we are now moving into more inputs on the humanitarian situation and how to work on the field. And our first speaker on the matter is Reza Latif, and I'm going to let him speak.
Thank you. Good day, everybody, and welcome to this exciting initiative. Yuspa, I have to say a big thank you to Yuspa for convening us and for supporting this hackathon. My role is, I've got two jobs. I'm one of the heads of the UN in Finland, and my day job is running an innovation office called UN Global Pulse. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But on Ukraine, it's clear that this has been the biggest crisis that's hit Europe since the last 80 years. It has repercussions all over the world, and we've heard some of those in terms of energy prices, in terms of agricultural prices, but also in terms of refugee flows. For the UN agencies working in Ukraine and around Ukraine, there are three major areas of work. The first area of work is, of course, peace building. So we want, as everyone wants, a very quick resolution to this conflict. We want peace as quickly as possible. The second area of concern for us is safe migration and safe evacuation. And that's something that many UN agencies and NGOs are working on the ground for. And the third area is the protection of civilians who remain in Ukraine. So those are the three broad areas that we would like to see action. And Stefan already highlighted some of the potential responses are kind of around those areas. Just in terms of UN Global Pulse, we are an innovation office. We are an initiative of the UN Secretary General. Our mission is to shape responsible and inclusive digital innovation that serves people, advances their sustainable development, and protects the planet. So just in terms of Ukraine, it's peace, it's migration and evacuation, it's protection of civilians. But I think what would also be interesting is more of a supporting refugees in Ukraine who are internally displaced, but also supporting refugees moving from Ukraine. And I'm going to just share a couple of things for you to have a look at. So just in terms of sharing my screen, there is lots of data portals that you can get. So if you are looking at needs and you need to find data to support kind of your interventions, UNHCR's, so data.unhcr.org is a really good source. UNHCR is the refugee agency, and they're providing a lot of information through the data portal that I would really encourage you to have a look at. The other data organization is OCHA, the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. So if you go to ochr.org, they are coordinating a lot of the UN's work in Ukraine, and they issue situation reports every day. The other data source, I think, if I can I find that? No, that's fine. The other data source that I use quite a lot is the Disasters and Emergencies Committee, which is a UK NGO that coordinates a lot of the UK and some of the European NGOs in terms of their Ukraine response. So we've talked a little bit about possible solutions. We've talked a little bit about the ramifications regionally and globally. But when we want to talk about needs and what are people in Ukraine or refugees from Ukraine, what do they need? These data sources are quite a good reference points. So I can share those references later. But just in terms of, one of the other things that the UN is doing, that we're doing a forward look in terms of preparing for the future scenarios, and those are really around reconstruction. It's around livelihoods, so getting people back to work, and it's also around agriculture. So I think supporting the existing situation is the highest priority, but I do think that 6 months, 1 year, we'll be looking at future needs and reconstruction, post-conflict reconstruction and rehabilitation of Ukraine in lots of areas. So I'll stop there. If there's any questions, I need to leave, so I won't be able to respond to questions. Or maybe, do you want to take some questions just for a few minutes, if there are any?
We're a bit early on schedule, so I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, so if there are any questions, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a question on the chat. If we want to build a system for helping people with brain injuries or neurodegenerative diseases, where we have to address? I'm sorry, Jaume, can you clear that last bit?
So I think regardless of the group that you're trying to target, you have to understand what the needs are. And I think the way that I would go about doing that, I'm not sure that WHO, the World Health Organization, is doing anything specifically on this. But I would check with some NGOs who are disability NGOs, or who are perhaps, are they working in Ukraine? Who are they working with? Who are the contacts? I am sure that there are hospital departments in Ukraine that are neurology departments but need support. You need to get in touch with them, find out what their needs are, can anything under the kind of the EU Space Initiative and the support that we have here, is it relevant? You know, how can we support that? One thing that I think we need to clarify is that we're talking about the EU Space Agency kind of, and you know, where they're coming from. Very much kind of, we're looking above and we're looking down. But I think specifically targeting kind of neurological diseases, I'm not sure how much kind of geospatial data would support that. It might support that, but you know, I think you just have to do a little bit of a sense check as well. There was another question.
No, I think it was a follow-up.
Okay. Okay, are there any other questions? No, okay.
No.
Well,
thank you, Resi.
Yeah, do come back to me if there's any things that you can't answer, and just wishing you an excellent hackathon, and I really hope that people on the ground benefit from some of these initiatives. But thank you all the partners for supporting that process.
Thank you for being with us.
Thanks.
We can move on to our next speaker on the matter. Dr. Mariana Salgado couldn't be with us today, so same as Apo, she left us a little message. I had the chance to have a conversation with her, and that's that conversation that I've recorded for you.
Hello, I'm sorry I cannot be with you today, but I will do my best to tell something about the challenges for Ukrainian refugees at the moment and for us. I am Mariana Salgado, a service designer in the Ministry of the Interior, and I have been previously studying media in Aalto University.
So I have a couple of questions for Mariana. For instance, what are the challenges within the scope of our hackathon that your organization faces and that participants could address?
So before going to the challenges, that I will tell you a little bit about the numbers. So the Ukrainian war has caused the largest number of refugees in the EU since World War II. And an estimated 14 million people have been forced to flee their homes. About 8 million are internally displaced persons, and more than 6 million have left Ukraine. But only 3 million have applied for temporary protection. So this means that we have 3 million that they have not applied, and we would like to know more about them. So in Finland, Ukrainians have submitted 26,000 applications for asylum or temporary protection. And you can see, like, the dark blue is the asylum, applications for temporary protection, and the light blue are the asylum applications. So the number of Ukrainian refugees is expected to remain high, and people enjoying temporary protection are entitled to receive reception centers, accommodations, healthcare, social services, for example, and money, also study and work. And the Ministry of the Interior anticipates that the number of people coming are around 40,000 to 80,000. Anticipating the number for us is super important, because it's our possibility to do better reception and sizing our services. So these are the challenges and the priorities at the moment. How many Ukrainians are in Finland now? Because we don't know exactly the number, how many have already applied and for temporary protection, and do we have here in Finland some people that did not apply, who they are, and we need to know also from the ones that have applied and for the ones that not, who they are, their background and future plans. How are their plans changing? What could influence their plans? And how many are they on their way towards Finland? But I also wanted to put some other challenges that are interesting for us. I don't know if you will pick up with them, but it's like how to better communicate with Ukrainians. Do we need service map, a compass, in order to better communicate with them who does what in our service system, in our ecosystem of services? So how to outreach Ukrainians living in private houses is also something that we need to improve, and we need to be able to know where they are and also what are their needs.
Very well, thank you. And what is important to keep in mind when dealing with a refugee or war refugee situation?
Well, be careful and respectful when approaching them. If you are going to make interviews, you will learn a lot about them helping instead of asking. Ukrainians coming here had experienced a lot in a few days. Take account of that. And most of them are multilingual and can communicate in more than one language, mostly Russian and Ukrainian. So things are still uncertain, and they will be for a long time. So embracing this constant uncertainty is not easy, not for them and not also for us from public sector providers. So cultural differences have to be taken into account, and the situation evolves all the time. So what is true today, it might change tomorrow. And people tend to blame organizations or persons. So when you hear this organization, these people have not done, remember that we are all adapting and making our best. So in this hackathon, we are your partners. So if you have questions, please just contact us. We want to support your work. We need you, and this is why we are here. And we will do this together. Thank you, Elet.
So these were the words from Mariana Salgado. Something to be kept in mind is that Mariana is talking about the context that she knows, meaning Finland, but the needs that she has as a public service designer are quite similar to the needs of public service designers in other countries that are also welcoming war refugees. So most of the things she said can be applied to other countries' contexts. So to be kept in mind, of course, the numbers that she presented are very specific to Finland, but you can find a similar type of data publicly available for other countries if you want to work more specifically for the country that you come from and not do like a general solution. Continuing on our topic of humanitarian aid, we have with us Iris Lawson-Hellu.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for inviting us to this initiative. So my name is Iris Lawson-Hellu, and I work as a senior specialist at the Office of the Finnish Immigration Service. So my talk will also be in the context of Finland mainly. I am currently working with an EU-funded project, which is called the Project for Expectancy and Resource Planning in the Finnish Immigration Service. And with this project, our main goal is to strengthen our organization's ability to foresight, for example, future immigration flows, and also create ways for more sustainable resource planning within the Finnish Immigration Service. Shortly about the Finnish Immigration Service, we are an organization of around 1,000 professionals. The Finnish Immigration Service is the decision-making body responsible for matters related to residence permits, asylum, and citizenship. In addition to decision-making, we also provide specialist and information services to support political decision-making and to facilitate national and international cooperation. And with our work, our goal is to promote good governance, controlled and safe immigration, and also human and fundamental rights. I think Mariana brought some of the same challenges in her video up, which we are facing also. I think that the main challenge we face as an organization, which is related to this hackathon, is that in general, immigration flows to Finland vary from year to year, especially flows of people seeking for international protection. And as our goal is to provide good and equal services to all our customers. It would help if we had more knowledge beforehand about the amount of people coming to Finland or trying to come to Finland. And of course, the more sort of background information we have about the people coming to Finland, for example, about the possible disabilities they might have, we would be able to train our staff in advance and in general provide better social and other services for our customers. And on the other side, we could then also take these factors into consideration in our organization's own resource planning and make sure that we have enough educated staff to deal with the difficult situation. And the Finnish Immigration Service is in charge of, for example, providing accommodation and paying daily allowances for people seeking international protection here in Finland while they are still waiting for their decisions. And together with, for example, border officials and the police, we are usually one of the first officials people face when they come to Finland seeking for international protection. Lastly, I would like to say that please keep in mind that dealing with refugees is a very sensitive topic, and behind all the numbers and statistics, you have real people with real stories and real suffering. So please be sensitive and respectful in your work and in the data you use or gather yourself. And if you need any more knowledge about, for example, the practical decision-making processes or international protection law or Finnish immigration law, for example, or statistics about Finland, our organization will try our best to assist you in these questions. I guess that was all from my side, so thank you and good luck.
Well, thank you, Iris, for being here, sharing your views. And Iris, just like Mariana and most of our speakers today, will also be mentors during the hackathon. So you'll be able to reach out to them while you're working on your projects and get feedback and probably more resources that are specific to the projects you'll try to develop. Let's keep moving on our program, finishing with some additional partner presentations that are not related to data or technology resources or humanitarian refugee support. We have a little presentation from our partner, Markus Ranne from Business Finland.
Hi. My name is Markus Ranne, and I'm the head of the New Space Economy program at Business Finland. The program is very happy to be part of this EU Space for Ukraine hackathon, and we are looking forward to seeing many great solutions coming out of this event to help the refugees. The New Space Economy program is a 5-year program which is now on its final year. Our mission is to renew and grow the Finnish space sector to be a significant global player in the new space economy. We work together with space technology companies and also space application companies, so companies which provide solutions for terrestrial challenges by making benefit of space resources. These kind of solutions can relate, for example, to climate change and forest management, situational awareness, and 5G. We support the companies through innovation funding, export promotion, and market access support. We also help foreign companies which are interested in locating to Finland and becoming part of the Finnish new space economy ecosystem. We do not want to see space as an isolated thing. We rather want to see it as part of the digital infrastructure of Earth. One area of this kind of coexistence is in the area of situational awareness. With situational awareness, we mean the combination of satellite data to data originating from other sources, other kind of platforms such as drones and ground-based sensors. By combining this data and making it subject to automatic observation and analysis, we will be able to notice changes in the environment very quickly and make informed decision-making based on the data. This kind of situation awareness can be helpful in, for example, these application fields: smart agriculture, forestry, smart airports, maritime services, smart cities, natural disaster management. And I am pretty sure there could be something also for this hackathon. So please give it a thought. If you're interested to hear more about the New Space Economy program, I will be happy to provide further information. So please don't hesitate to get in touch. Thank you.
And here we go for our last presentation of today. So Marcus is a bit already in the future, but has a great knowledge of the space economy, and all of you that are developing solutions related to that. We want to push you to continue forward after the hackathon and try to find partners that could support you doing so. So your projects don't just stop at the end of the hackathon, but actually can develop and grow. So this was our little door opener to that growth. Moving forward with some practical matters for the last bit of our webinar. So in terms of timeline, today is June the 6th. For our webinar. From today until the 19th of June, you are very welcome to register yourself to the event, not just to the webinar as you did to participate today, but to the event itself. No matter how you find the information about the hackathon, you will always end up on ultrahack.core/EU space for Ukraine Hackathon Challenge, where you will be able to fill up the registration form, leave us your information, and then starting from there, you will be in the database of people interested in the hackathon. You'll be able to look at all the participants' profiles, all the participations ID, form teams, form IDs, network, and slowly get ready for the hackathon itself. The registration will close on the 19th at midnight CET. From then on, it will not be possible to register. We will look at all the information of registration, all the project IDs, your descriptions of them, your skills, who are your teammates, and based on this information, the most promising teams will be invited by USPI and the partners to participate in the actual hackathons. Maximum of 15 teams will be accepted in the hackathon, but we'll do our best to make sure that everyone that is very motivated gets a spot, either by merging some teams that don't yet know each other, by matchmaking people that don't have an ID but have skills with people that have an ID and not skills, etc. We'll try to make sure that everyone has a full, complete team, an ID, and is ready to tackle the hackathon. Moving forward from the selection, we will send an email to all of you whether your team and ID has been selected or not to participate in the hackathon, so you know where you stand. You'll receive in this confirmation email a little form. It will be very important that you answer that form within the next 2 or 3 days, because we need this information to be able to set up your virtual machines that from CryoDias and Cloudfero that Jan has presented. So we'll have some information about if you need extra data that you already possess in the machines, if you need extra softwares that you would like to use to process the data in the machines, and what type of environment you want for the machine, meaning do you want a Linux or a Windows software system. So that's for the selection bit. And within the next week, after selection, but before the hackathon, we will have a meeting called Meet the Mentors, where both mentors and teams are invited. This way you get to meet everyone that's going to be a mentor, or at least the ones that participate in the meeting. But the most interesting thing about that meeting is that you get to quickly present what's your project ID, what you're thinking about developing, and you can get early on feedback from the mentors on like things to think about, things to look into, extra resources. They will a bit challenge your idea, give you pointers and comments, so you can already look into all of that before the hackathon starts. Start doing more research so you have everything gathered and you're fully ready to tackle the hackathon and go in work mode and develop the solution once we start. And then, well, obviously we have the hackathon itself that closes that timeline from June 29th to the 1st of July. It will be fully online, and you will have access to mentoring on the 2 first days. And the hackathon will be hosted on Zoom. And we'll also have in parallel a text platform for communication outside of the moments where we'll be live on Zoom, and it will be Slack. These 2 applications are free of access and very easy. And anyway, we will give you a guide to the people selected on how to use them in case you're unfamiliar, but they are very easy to use. In terms of finding a team, because it's quite crucial to participate into the hackathon, like I said, first you need to register as an individual, write a little introduction of yourself. What are your skills, what you're interested into, what are the fields of application you could help with or are interested into. So teams can look at your profile and tell you, well, we would like your skills, or we're interested in your profile, please join our team, or we will be able to propose your profile to teams that exist, or try to matchmake everyone into groups, basically. So you can also on the platform check people's profiles, check people's submission IDs, network, and try to find common grounds to form said teams. I will show you a bit how to do that on the platform right now through a live demonstration of how that works. It's fairly easy and straightforward. So whether you find the hackathon through the USpot page for the hackathon and you click register here for the event, or whether you find right away the UltraHack hosted page for the hackathon, you will end up in the same place at the end. What interests you is, of course, description of the hackathon that we already covered today, but it's the join as follows section, the registration form, where you can type your name, your last name. If you want to put a picture, that's up to you. We would like to know roughly where you're located. You don't have to give us your full address, but it's just so we can do a bit of a demographic analysis. The address will not be communicated to the other participants. It's your private data. The only thing that we'll show to other participants is your rough location, meaning city or country. So if you want to group by nationality because you have more affinities, that's always an option because this information is publicly available. Then we'd like to know a bit what's your career status, again, some demographic research, and to help group skills. So there is like a panel of different points of views in your team, some tags you can use to describe your skills. Always tip the fact that you want to participate in said hackathon. Then you can write a short description of what are your domains of expertise, who you are, what you're interested in the hackathon, what you would like to do in that context. Feel free to add more information to your profile, like a link to a personal website, your LinkedIn profile. We also request your phone number, including the international country code, so we can call you even though you're not located in the same area. This information also is fully private and will not be disclosed. It's just for us organizers, so we can reach out to you if there is need to be, so we can match you with other teammates, so we can make sure you're participating, or if anything happens, like internet goes down during the hackathon, we can still call our participants. And then finally, last bit of demographic information, gender. So I'm just gonna put some random information so we can move on to the next bit. So once you're ready, you can submit. And there you have registered yourself as an interested participant. Then it will update this column there, that is your profile, so you can edit it if you want to add more information. But the most interesting bit is submission. Submissions are your project IDs. So you can type project name and a short description of said project. Once again, make sure you say it's for that hackathon. You will not be able to submit without ticking that box. And then once again, you submit. And there you have submitted your project ID. So now people that have logged in and have a profile on the platform are also interested in Hackathon. They can browse the participants tab and see who are the other people who applied to the hackathon. If they have a project ID, there will be the link to their project ID under their name and description. If they don't, then they just have a card, and you can decide to message them and type your message. And this will send an email to them with the message you typed. So this way we don't communicate personal information to either groups. The emails are handled through the platform, so you can communicate but never know each other's email. If you decide that you actually want to communicate directly and want personal information, you can reach out to us organizers, and we'll make sure that both parties approve for that personal data to be shared with someone else. And we'll organize that you can meet and talk to each other, not through the platform. So that's how you talk with someone. But if you want to look into the project IDs, then you go to the submissions tab. There you have the list of the project IDs that have already been submitted. My beautiful fake ID is just here. I have, of course, my admin, so I can delete or approve the submissions, but for you, it will show request to join button instead of these. And same thing, it gives you a box where you can tap a message, and it sends a message to the people from that team saying, hey, I would like to be part of your team. I'm interested in your projects. I have this and this type of skills. I think that could be very helpful, or just, I think it's cool. I want to be part of it. And same thing, it sends it to their email, and they can decide to approve and accept you in the team or not. If people are not replying to your requests to join and messages within 48, 72 hours, feel free to contact us, the organizers, and we'll make sure that this person is still interested in the hackathon, have seen your message, that it didn't end up in a spam box, for instance, so the communication can keep happening. So within 48 to 72 hours, if you have no reply at all to your requests or messages, send us a message. You can use the little chat box that is on the web page, or send me an email, and I will try to see what's going on. There you go. That's how you use the registration platform, and that's how you will be able to join the event. If you don't register, then we won't be able to have you with us because we won't have your information. Ingredients for a great team. Well, it's always good to be within the range of 3 to 5 participants in the team to divide the work better. That's what we recommend. If you want to be 6, that's up to you. If you want to be 2, that's up to you. We really don't recommend being alone. A hackathon is a very intensive development sprint. So being alone is very, very heavy, but it's up to you. It's your choice, but we don't recommend. Things you can look into, well, common interest in topics of challenge, if you have similar problems to solve, use cases, complementary skill sets. And one thing we like to insist on is diversity of perspective. I know it's hard sometimes to work with people you don't know, but it also creates sometimes the best projects. Most of our winning teams are formed of people that didn't know each other before the hackathon, might have very different views on the solutions, but that what musters the conversation and leads to the best solutions at the end. So feel free to really invite someone that you don't know that has maybe interesting skills, or and invite them to your team and work with them during the hackathon. One important bit of information within the context of this hackathon, the prizes that Stefan has presented in the beginning of our webinar can only be awarded to people of European nationality, plus Norway, Switzerland, and Iceland, or teams that are representing a European-based startup company institution for legal reasons. Specificities of our events. If you haven't caught it yet, you will get access to amazing data resources and computing power from courtesy of Cloudflare. There will be lots of different mentors to support you in developing your projects and your ideas. So that's a great resource you will get access to. And then Stefan already presented the prizes and the opportunities that this hackathon will open to you and your team. So I won't cover them again, so we get a bit of time. Our next steps together, well, first of all, register to the event. Once again, I can't stretch that enough. It's very important. Then on the 20th, probably later in the evening, I will send to everyone their confirmation or their rejection email. Follow the instruction in the email. Please take a look at it on the 20th, on the 21st, and answer the form to confirm your participation, so we know where you stand. And if you have any questions, any problems throughout that period, you can contact me. My email is just there. I will also type it in the chat, so you can just copy paste it and keep it for later. But here you have all the information you need, and that concludes our webinar presentation. And I will now move on to some Q&As. I see we can already answer some questions that we have in the chat. So how many of you asked, can you paste the link to the platform in the chat for registration platform, I assume? Yeah, so I will paste that right after in this chat. And then we have another question, can non-Europeans participate? We do welcome non-Europeans to participate. You're really welcome to do so. I just want you to be aware that we are not able to distribute the prizes to people that are not located in EU nationals, plus Norway, Switzerland, and Iceland. That's just the framework of our hackathon. So if you're doing for good and are not interested in prizes, then feel free to come. We won't reject your application on the basis of your location. Okay, now that the chat questions are covered, do we have more questions live that are popping up? Feel free to open your microphone and ask away. Is there a chance to learn through this hackathon as a student? Well, I would say it's always. It's very intense learning process for anyone, even people that are having lots of experience on their fields. You're developing new ideas, new solutions, you're collaborating with people you potentially don't know. So it's a great way to train skills, concepts you've learned in school, and expand your areas of expertise. So it's highly recommended for students to participate in hackathons. Yeah, I can't stress that more enough. Oh, great point, Mika. I had almost forgotten, but yeah, students at Helsinki University can also get study credits for participating. Get in touch with the head teachers. They'll know more how the technical bits of making that happen goes, but indeed participating in hackathon from Helsinki University and sometimes in other universities can give you study credits as well. So get in touch with your dean, your headmasters and teachers and ask them if they have a hackathon support program for study credits. We deliver certificates of participation at the end of the hackathon, so you can prove that you indeed have participated in said hackathon and get the credits from your study credit program from your university. Do we have any more questions? I've sent the link to the registration platform in the chat and also my email if you want to copy paste it and save it for later. You'll anyway receive emails from me throughout this registration process and by the end of it for the selection. So you can save it so you're sure it's not going to end up in spams, for instance. Well, if we don't have any more questions, then all is left to say thank you for coming today and participating in our webinar and for being interested in this hackathon and helping the Ukrainian people in this very complicated and challenging times. It's very commendable of you. We look forward to reading your submissions and project ideas and to see you on the hackathon. Have a great evening, everyone. Goodbye.